So recently, Turning Point USA actually had their Young Women's Leadership Summit, whatever event in Texas in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I wasn't going to talk about it on this channel because they deny my press credentials, and yes, I am in fact that petty, and I was hurt by it, and I didn't attend, and I'm upset because if I would have attended, then I would be in place of Nuance Bro right here in this photo with one Mr. Kyle Rittenhouse. I would have hung out with all these people, and honestly, I don't actually feel that bad about not going because I had just come back from a different trip, and I need some time at home, and I need some time to hang out with the people that I actually know in my real life other than these internet people, although Kyle should have been there to take that photo with you. I'd have been like this, and then I would have had that cross state line shirt that I still sell, and whatever. But Kyle Rittenhouse was there, obviously, because, you know, you can't have a Young Women's Leadership Summit without the great Kyle Rittenhouse attending. And people are mad at him because people are still angry about Rittenhouse because people don't have any idea about the realities of the Rittenhouse case. And I pledged on this channel to not let this issue go, to call out liars, and chief among the liars that have been spreading misinformation about the Rittenhouse case are the Young Turks. So we're going to watch them whine about Kyle Rittenhouse and lie about him all over again. Even though they've actually corrected these lies in the past, they're going to go back to them because that's how deluded and ridiculous they actually are. But before we get into that, this video is in fact sponsored by My Digital Money. They're a long-term sponsor of this channel, so I do appreciate them jumping on board. So we'll throw it over to them. Let's get that throwing motion in there, and then we'll come back here, and then we'll talk about this whole thing. Let's talk about investment paralysis. Recently, a bunch of so-called experts were all predicting that Bitcoin would drop to $10,000, wiping out a ton of people. What ended up happening? When it dropped to $29,000, a bunch of institutional investors got on board and they pushed it back up to $31K. Talk is cheap, and that's what a lot of these so-called experts and pundits are doing, just giving you cheap talk. What you should do is follow the money, follow the institutional investors, follow the billionaires. They got rich for a reason, and what their strategy appears to be when it comes to Bitcoin and other crypto coins is buying the dip. If you're interested in investing in crypto, I hope you'll consider My Digital Money. You can visit them at mydigitalmoney.com, or you could talk to their US-based customer support at 833-636-2008. That's 833-636-2008. Call them, go on their website, and learn about your options today.
Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA held a Young Women's Leadership Summit where they were conditioning women, of course, to be good, submissive partners. They want them to save themselves from marriage, you know, just the typical standard dorky conservative stuff where they're getting super involved in people's personal sex lives and what people do in their bedrooms.
So Ana's opening of this segment obviously shows her contempt for the Turning Point USA event, her anger at these people saying something like women submissive. I'm sure Ana is taking them completely out of context, and about stuff about saving themselves from marriage, which is honestly just general conservative religious stuff. And there's nothing wrong with it. If you choose to not do that, I don't care. I'm not into that thing. Not very religious on this channel, as I said in the past. But again, it's a Young Women's Leadership Summit for a conservative organization that sometimes pretends to be a social conservative organization. So this is standard fare, especially since they invited a whole host of speakers. And I'm sure some of the speakers are actually genuinely socially conservative, advocating for their beliefs. But sure, Ana's angry. Ana's got that contempt look on her face. And now she's going to talk about how they brought out Kyle Rittenhouse and how she doesn't like that because Kyle Rittenhouse is a very bad man for defending himself on video in the clearest, most obvious case of self-defense and getting railroaded by the criminal justice system and then beating it. Even though Ana Kasparian repeatedly lied and put propaganda about the case out there, it turns out that doesn't stand up to evidence, so Ana Kasparian is bitter and angry about it.
Now, there was a moment where they brought out someone they referred to as a cute conservative. And let's take a look at how that all went down.
I just want to introduce Kyle by saying this. We talk a lot about, hey you. I wanted to talk a lot about what kind of man you should want to be attracted to. Hey you. Or if you're a dog person,
Dogs are the best.
So first of all, I didn't get to hear them say cute conservative, but I'm gonna give the Young Turks the benefit of the doubt and say that somebody at some point did say that, and Ana Kasparian's mad about it, but look at Kyle Rittenhouse's face. The dude looks like a baby. He looks like he's 15 years old, and young people tend to be cute because handsome is a descriptor for somebody who's more developed and masculine in their features. Kyle looks like a little baby. Devin Tracy has taken to photoshopping him on cherubs because Kyle is often described as cute, but let's throw it over to Anna because I'm sure she's gonna have a totally reasonable take.
So, Kyle Rittenhouse, a guy who opened fire on 3 protesters in Kenosha, Wisconsin. The first time being after someone threw a bag at him and he turned around and decided to shoot.
So of course we have Ana Kasparian once again lying to the members of her audience about what happened in the Rittenhouse case, and this lie is a lie by omission because she's skipping some steps. She said Kyle Rittenhouse turned around and decided to shoot at somebody who threw a plastic bag at him like that's the whole story, when in reality convicted felon Joseph Rosenbaum, who by the way was convicted for felony sex offenses, who had just been released from a mental hospital that day, was charging at Kyle Rittenhouse, was reaching for the gun, which Kyle Rittenhouse was open carrying, so it's not like he couldn't have seen it, and Kyle Rittenhouse turned at the last moment when his escape was cut off and fired upon Joseph Rosenbaum. Then he was attacked by other people as he was trying to run to the police line when he was running away from them, and he ended up defending himself against one of them who hit him with a skateboard and another one who pulled a gun on him. So that's what actually happened without Ana Kasparian leaving out all the crucial steps. And obviously this is a great opportunity for me to cut to Kyle Rittenhouse talking about Ana Kasparian and what he thinks of her terrible, repeatedly awful coverage of his case and everything else she does in her life.
Now, what really mattered to me was how all of this unfolded. What was the thing that sparked it? What started all of it? And initially, I was under the assumption that Rittenhouse was the person who was chasing after Joseph Rosenbaum, that's how it had started. But I was wrong about that. Okay, so I want to correct the record. I was, in fact, wrong about that.
She was wrong about it.
She's wrong about a lot of things.
Yes, Kyle, she is wrong about a lot of things. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Now, he was acquitted in that trial, but
those people are dead.
those people, yeah.
He was acquitted in that trial, but I mean, what am I even going to say the word self-defense? Am I even going to point out that Kyle Rittenhouse used self-defense successfully and it was all caught on video? Am I going to show any of those videos? No, I'm just going to make this Anna face. I'm going to shrug my shoulders like somehow he was acquitted because of evil white supremacist system and not add anything. And then Jank's going to say those people were dead. Like they died. Yes, the people who attacked Kyle Rittenhouse, the one that reached for his gun, which created an obligation for Kyle Rittenhouse, by the way, to defend himself, because you should not surrender your weapon to a crazy person on the street because he could have used it unjustifiably against Kyle or a bunch of other people. And he's a felony prohibited possessor, so he knew full well that he had no right to disarm Kyle. And the other guy, of course, was attacking Kyle while he was on the ground, hitting him over the head with a skateboard, which can be a deadly weapon. And the third person pulled the gun on Kyle that he was possessing illegally as well, unlike Kyle's gun, which turned out to be illegal possession. Yeah, that's the story. And by the way, Gage Grosskreutz did not die. He was wounded in that incident because Kyle showed restraint and only used the force that was necessary to get himself out of that situation.
I mean, yeah, OJ was also acquitted. Congratulations.
Yeah.
So Cenk compares Kyle Rittenhouse to O.J. Simpson, which is something he's done multiple different times, even though it makes absolutely no sense. Sure, in its basest form, if you're an absolute idiot like Cenk Uygur, you could say they both killed 2 people and got acquitted, therefore, it all makes all the sense in the world. But the thing is, OJ's defense to that situation is that he wasn't there and that he didn't do it, he had no involvement at all. Kyle Rittenhouse's defense in that situation was that it was self-defense. We saw from all of the videos that covered every aspect of this incident that it was obviously self-defense. The most obvious self-defense case that ever existed in the United States of America.
OJ was also acquitted. Congratulations.
Yeah.
So what Cenk's doing right here when he compares Kyle Rittenhouse to O.J. Simpson is lying. He is a liar. One case we know for sure based on the forensic evidence that O.J. did it. Another case, and O.J. by the way lies about being the person who is behind those murders, we know that Kyle Rittenhouse killed those people, and we can see all the events that led up to that situation captured on video to show it's an obvious self-defense case. I just want to pause right here because I know, and believe me, I know that there are people out there in the comments writing right now in the live chat if we're in the premiere that Kyle Rittenhouse is going to sue everybody. Lawsuits abound. Kyle Rittenhouse going to sue these people. Kyle Rittenhouse lawsuit, 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 lawsuit. Stop saying this. Stop repeating this nonsense. The fact of the matter is you cannot sue if you had a homicide trial and people think that you're a murderer and say it out there in public. Think of the example that Cenk is going to give throughout the course of this video of O.J. Simpson. How many people think O.J. Simpson did it because he did it? I will say without hesitation or fear of legal repercussions that O.J. Simpson is in fact the murderer. He did murder those people. He is a murderer. Not alleged, not anything like that. He was acquitted, obviously, but he was a murderer. You're allowed to say that because that's a matter of opinion. Defamation has to be done with malice. You have to say things that you know are false, etc., etc. This is why Kyle is starting the Media Accountability Project, a nonprofit, to work on holding the media accountable outside of the legal structures and maybe within legal structures when it's actually plausible. And if you're thinking of Nick Sandmann, remember, they settled, and the reason that they settled is because Nick Sandmann, they made a smile into an attack on a Native American. They talked about how Sandmann approached the Native American, which is not true at all. It's objectively false. And the standard for defamation for somebody who is under the age of 18 is actually lower than it is for somebody who's a full adult. So stop saying lawsuits to everything related to Kyle Rittenhouse. You guys are sounding like idiots, and I don't like that.
Anyway, people get mad at me when I talk about other people's looks, so I guess I'll just keep it to myself. Whatever. Go ahead.
You know, based on their appearances in the media, based on the number of times that you've heard each of these individuals speak, it might be hard for you to believe that Kyle Rittenhouse is actually the 18, 19-year-old barely removed from high school in this situation, and Ana Kasparian is a 35-year-old adult. She is talking like the high school brat that she definitely was. Oh, people don't like it when I talk about people's appearances, so I'm just gonna leave it there. Yeah, very, very classy, Anna. The anti-insult from Leafy is being delivered by Ana Kasparian in this situation. That's really, really stellar stuff. But then again, Ana Kasparian is wrong about a lot of things, isn't she, Kyle?
She's wrong about a lot of things.
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
Not cute. I'll just say not cute.
Yeah.
Not cute. Again, stellar commentary from the professional Ana Kasparian. She definitely isn't at the Young Turks because at age 20, she was willing to work for free at Cenk's startup company. That's totally not the origin of her being in the position that she actually is in. It's just merit all the way.
So this is the state of the Republican Party. They celebrate people like George Zimmerman, Kyle Rittenhouse. Now they're telling women, we covered it earlier in the show, the whole point of this conference was be submissive. Your husbands are supposed to lead. Don't even look at any other guys, even before you get married. Save yourself for a guy that you barely know, and then hope that he leads you in the right direction, because he's a man and you're not. You're just a woman.
So now Cenk is talking about the conference, and I am certain, based on my experience with Cenk Uygur, that he is framing this in the worst possible way because that's what he does for a living, and the idea that they're like, get married and take directions from some man you barely know seems a little bit absurd. It seems like Cenk's making up things because that's what he does.
And then they bring out this killer, and he killed 2 people. He was acquitted, but he killed them. That's the only thing he's known for. It's not like, oh, he's got a Nobel Prize in physics, but he happened to kill 2 people. They like him because of the Nobel Prize. No, they like him because he killed 2 people.
You know, I've often talked about how on this channel that research shows time and time again that people on the left fundamentally can't understand the right, and this is a perfect example of this. Cenk may be lying, Cenk may be being intentionally disingenuous in this situation, but if you look at the comments of this video, they're pretty much in lockstep with Cenk Uygur. And here's the thing. If you're one of these people who believes that the right supports Kyle Rittenhouse because he killed 2 people, then you'd really need to ask yourself why the right doesn't support other people who killed 2 people. Maybe, just maybe, It's because Kyle Rittenhouse was charged in the most obvious self-defense case ever, and he became a symbol for the right to self-defense, and that's why people support him. Also, Cenk is just going to outright lie about what the event was, so I'm going to play that for you.
That's the only thing he's saying. Oh, you went to a protest against police abuse and you killed 2 people. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Cenk, it was a riot. The rioters who were rioting on behalf of violent sexual assaulting criminal Jacob Blake, who was shot in a 100% justified shooting, were rioting. That's what Kyle Rittenhouse was at. He was defending the community that he knew from the rioters. You calling it a peaceful protest, you calling it a protest, obfuscates the point that this was a riot where people came with weapons. There were crazy people, including the people with weapons and the people who are crazy that attacked Kyle Rittenhouse that he had to defend himself against.
And so maybe they should have brought OJ. I mean, he's a strong man, right?
He's black. I mean, I don't know.
Well,
Would they be
that's a
into that?
problem, right?
Again, a fundamental lack of understanding. OJ, Anna thinks they don't support because he's black, not because OJ's case is not a self-defense case at all. It is a case of outright murder. And then Cenk is going to move on to Charles Manson and say he has a swastika, so all the Nazi right-wingers love that.
But Charles Manson, I don't know. You guys like killers, right? So, strong man, yeah. Oh my God, he's got a swastika on his forehead. So strong. He doesn't listen to anybody.
Yeah, Cenk is definitely steel manning the right wing right here, talking about their support for Charles Manson. Sure, Cenk. Whatever you say, whatever you want to talk about.
I don't even like. It's interesting because you come at this from a place of anger, and it's not that I don't feel anything. It's just that I see this, and it's the most expected thing on the planet, of course. But like the thing that I don't understand is how do you look at Kyle Rittenhouse and think, no, I want him to be the leader of my family. Like I look at him and I think he's the perfect person to protect me.
How much of this video is Ana Kasparian just talking about how she's not attracted to the very boyish looking Kyle Rittenhouse? Again, Anna, get out of high school. Get into the real world. You have a real job. You're on the internet.com. Provide some knowledgeable commentary for a change.
He's a guy who first opened fire during that BLM protest after someone threw a bag in his direction.
A plastic bag.
So again, we have Ana Kasparian, like the doof that she is, just repeating the propaganda in the hopes that if she says it enough times, it will become true. That Kyle just opened fire, and he was the first to open fire when Rosenbaum threw a plastic bag in his direction. Now it's not even throwing it at him, it's throwing it in his direction. Let me disassociate Joseph Rosenbaum's actions from this situation, even though Ana Kasparian already did a correction video based on her lying about this case repeatedly for a year and well into the trial.
So those details matter, right? Who was chasing who matters. The gunshots by some other unidentified person, that matters, especially if you're Rittenhouse and you're running away and then you hear shots and then Rosenbaum lunges toward him.
Also, he's not the first person to fire. We all know that Rosenbaum's associate fired a gun behind Rittenhouse, and that's why he first turned around. And the reason that he fired upon Rosenbaum had nothing to do with the plastic bag, Anna. It had to do with the fact that he was lunging for the gun, and the evidence shows, based on the burns on his hand, that he was within inches of the barrel when Rittenhouse shot him. Rittenhouse should not have let this crazy person who was a felony prohibited possessor, and this guy knew he was a felony prohibited possessor, disarm him when he had no rights to, because that would have put a lot of people in danger. He had every right to defend himself against what was clearly and obviously a deadly threat. If somebody tries to take your gun away from you, you have to presume, especially when they're acting crazy the whole night, that he intends to use it on you.
So
I mean, I don't see that as strength. Like I see, look, for me, strength is, all right, I'm in a little bit of a scary situation, right? But why don't I see if I can de-escalate, right? Like, how can I be an actual leader, right? And an actual leader, by the way, wouldn't go out of his way to go to a protest where he obviously disagrees with the protesters with a gun, right? not even concealed, like showing off his gun, obviously meant to provoke.
So after Ana Kasparian was repeatedly humiliated, chief among those humiliators, me, for repeatedly saying cross state lines, as if Kyle Rittenhouse actually did cross state lines with a firearm, as if crossing state lines with a firearm on its own was a crime, or crossing state lines on its own was a crime, she decided to finally change it up in this video with go out of his way, which is also false. Kyle Rittenhouse lived 15 to 20 minutes away from Kenosha. He worked in Kenosha. He had family in Kenosha. It wasn't out of his way, and it's not going to stop me from playing the Cross State Lines compilation. Here you go.
Wouldn't go out of his way to go to a protest.
Who crossed state lines. He drove from Illinois to Kenosha, Wisconsin. Now again, he drove from Illinois to Wisconsin. It's not like he was in his front yard and he was approached by a group of individuals who posed an imminent threat to his life. He drove across state lines in a state that he doesn't even live in.
Because obviously we're dealing with a 17-year-old from out of state.
And then he crossed state lines with it.
He crossed state lines, meaning he traveled across state lines. He traveled there from out of state.
Who again, traveled across state lines.
So he did not cross state lines with an illegal gun.
Anna, Kyle didn't provoke the situation. He was illegally carrying his gun in the city of Kenosha, providing medical attention to people on the ground, actually helping people, which was proven out by the testimony, when the people who were lighting dumpsters on fire, the people who were rioting, the people who were there to cause trouble, tried to attack him, and he defended himself. And by the way, since he was going to a violent, unjustified riot, bringing some form of protection made a lot of sense and is not to be confused with provocation. Being a legal gun owner, acting within your rights as a legal gun owner in a place where you're legally allowed to be is not provocation, Anna.
Here's what I like in a husband, right? Someone who's not out to provoke a situation, provoke violence. Now, I do find it super hot if someone does pose a physical threat to me and my husband defends me, and that did happen. And I love that, right? I have no problem with husbands defending or protecting their wives or their partners, okay? But I don't know, like my husband doesn't feel the need to go to a protest, and that's my husband.
Think about where we are in this video. Ana Kasparian sees Kyle Rittenhouse, who is a symbol of self-defense and unjustified prosecutions in the United States of America for the right wing, be put out there for the women at this Turning Point USA Women's Leadership Summit. So she decided as an adult woman, and I know Kyle's an adult, but he's barely an adult, as a 35-year-old plus woman, to drag out pictures of her husband, which obviously they made these graphics beforehand, to compare and contrast her husband to Kyle Rittenhouse, who comparatively is a boy. Now, he went through a whole bunch of things and all that, but he looks like a boy and all that. And Ana Kasparian's like, that's my husband. My husband is so much more attractive than Kyle Rittenhouse. Look at these modeling photos that my husband took. My husband came here as a Cuban to play baseball and didn't make the major leagues and works at a bar, since we're going to talk about Ana Kasparian's husband.
That's my husband. No, let's take a good hard look, because she just told women that men don't like leaders for wives, that men don't like strong women, that real men love submissive women who let the husband lead all the time.
Anna, you're not a leader. You're second fiddle to Cenk Uygur. The reason you're in the position that you're in, which was handed to you by Cenk Uygur, is because you're willing to work for free at age 20 at the Young Turks as an intern, while Cenk couldn't afford to hire anybody else with more qualifications.
By the way, we're in a partnership. We don't see it as you're the leader, I'm not the leader. We see it as how can we work together to build amazing lives for ourselves?
Now, I'm happy for you, Anna, that you're attracted to your husband. I'm glad for you, and I wish you all the best in your marriage. But the idea that you feel so insecure about your own marriage and your own standing that you have to try to flex your husband on Kyle Rittenhouse, a 19-year-old that bothers you because you can't state the facts related to his case, is utterly pathetic and should be the greatest self-own in the history of your career, except for the fact that you have about 800 things that you said in the last few years that are significantly dumber and worse and show a better reflection of how horrible a person you actually are.
That's a real man, okay? a real man.
This is the level that we're actually operating at the Young Turks, where we have 35-plus-year-old woman Ana Kasparian, allegedly happily married Ana Kasparian, talking about how her husband, the person that she presumably loves, and who is a fully grown adult male, is so much hotter than Kyle Rittenhouse. And Kyle Rittenhouse, you're just not as hot as Ana Kasparian. I'm sorry, Kyle Rittenhouse, who openly mocks Ana Kasparian in hilarious ways by talking about how wrong she is.
She's wrong about a lot of things.
You're never gonna get to be with Ana Kasparian, who's nearly twice your age and is weird for even suggesting it, because what the hell is wrong with this woman?
The part I'm mad about is celebrating Rittenhouse. Like, oh, this guy went to go pick a fight and then wound up killing 2 people because somebody threw a plastic bag at him and a skateboard or whatever, right? And he got acquitted and he got away with the killings. Oh, I think that's so strong and manly. So I'm willing to submit to him.
Now the segment just kind of goes in circles. Cenk brings up OJ again because he thinks that's a good point, but it just shows how ridiculous he is. But I just want to leave it there because Ana Kasparian trying to flex her husband on an 18/19-year-old boy is a little bit absurd in every possible way, and I don't think I can continue on with this. But obviously, Kyle Rittenhouse is innocent. Obviously, I wish I would have met him, but they denied my media pass at Turning Point, and shame on them, and I'm gonna leave it here. But hey, those are just my thoughts, so let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you like this video, you show me by leaving a like. Subscribe for more content. Follow me on all my social medias. You can support me via the support links in the description box of this video. This has been me talking about TYT, still crying about Kyle Rittenhouse. Till next time.